having a good weekend so far?
It's been great. I mean, like, the weather's been holding out for us really nicely, so it's been fantastic so far. And I mean, it's supposed to be like this for the rest of the weekend, so I'm pretty psyched. Do you get to stick around like after today, or are you just hitting the road right after?
Yeah, we got to hit the road. I think we have a show tomorrow, but yeah. But we'll get around for a few hours. I think we'll be able to watch the Killers, so that'd be cool.
There you go. I mean, that's pretty cool. I mean, you get to at least spend some time here, so that's good. But I want to say welcome to Louisville, and I do want to start out first. Like, we got to kind of get this out of the way because, like, I do want to know, are you a whiskey drinker?
I do like whiskey, yeah.
Okay, now here's the thing. I know you're from Ireland. You got your Irish whiskey. You're in the bourbon capital of the world.
Yeah.
So, like, is there some sort of battle that goes on between the Irish whiskey versus the bourbon?
I think they're such different flavor palettes. You know, I think to me, bourbon is like it has that sweet front to it. It has this sort of sweet. I think it's from the corn. I guess it's like corn. It's like the original.
Yeah.
You know. So, for me, that offers like this kind of mouthfeel. This like really smooth, sweet mouthfeel. That the whiskey is different. It's a bit sharper on the front, maybe, but yeah.
All right. I mean, do you have are you sweeter or more like the spicy rye kind of vibe?
I do enjoy bourbon. I kind of can't drink as much of bourbon than I drink more Irish whiskey. I'll put it that way.
Okay. I mean, that is fair. But I mean, while you're here, you got to try like some of the different bourbon that's there. I mean, hopefully they gave you like a bottle or two to like try in the dressing room.
Yeah, I hope so. I think I haven't been there yet, but I'm hoping to.
I mean, if they don't, like, we'll raise hell for you. Like, we'll make sure that it happens. But I appreciate you taking the time, and you know, I do want to talk about, you know, first off, like, let's talk about the major anniversary just a couple of days ago, 10 years of Take Me to Church.
Yeah.
I mean, like, it's crazy, to think that it's been 10 years, but I do want to talk about the song just in general of how do you feel 10 years later? Because I mean, the song, you know, it has such emotion to it. It has like some of that, you know, controversy to it that, you know, you're kind of known for with a lot of your songs. So has that much changed in 10 years with this song?
I mean, the song has changed my life with regards to its kind of message. I don't think, weirdly, in some ways, the song is more applicable now than it was 10 years ago in our part of the world, I think. But so I'm proud of that song. I think it's expanded into spaces that I never thought it would. It's kind of become something that I never thought it necessarily would when I wrote it. But I'm very proud of it. The fact that it's 10 years also is a bit spooky because I don't know where that 10 years went. You know what I mean?
I know, like, it just feels like yesterday that like it was like, oh yeah, like here's this new song from Hozier. I'm like, all right, cool. Like it just feels like yesterday, but it is cool to see like how the song has evolved and everything, and then following your journey from that moment until now, after, you know, a decade. You know, you got the new album, and you know, with this album, I feel like, you know, you're just kind of exploring more of like what you're like. A lot of your songs, you have those different emotions, you have those different, like, I don't want to say like controversial topics, but slightly controversial topics that you want to bring to the forefront. So I feel like the new album is like very much like kind of in your face almost with some of that, but in a more artistic way, right?
It's I mean, there's some themes that it addresses that are unusual at times, or maybe a little bit uncomfortable, or there's some sort of like, some songs have some violent imagery in it, some have it's nothing. I wouldn't think it's necessarily controversial, but I think it's just like it's just taking a look at maybe some uncomfortable things. You know?
Yeah, it's more like thought-provoking and just trying to get you to think a little bit more about some things. Yeah,
I'd hope so.
Yeah, but I like it, and especially like, you know, when we go back to like the EP right before that, you know, like that wasn't really kind of the full scope of what the album is, but you know, I do admire the way that you take these topics and you're able to create something that really the listener is able to kind of follow along in that journey with you, even though it might not be like just like blatantly put out there. So like, how do you find those ways of taking, you know, those topics and it just kind of making it into that path for people to follow, you know, like kind of almost subliminally sometimes?
Yeah, I think some people come to the work, they interpret it differently no matter what. Like, you write a song, people will interpret it in different ways, but I think you have to remember, like, I try to remember that a song has a life. It has an immediate life on first listen, and then it has a life on the 10th listen, etc. So it's just hoping that people return to the work, and as they dive into it, they find different stuff where they can.
Yeah. Well, I know that was a big thing with Take Me to Church. Like, a lot of people took it at face value of like, oh, we're going to church and everything. So like, I mean, does it? I don't want to say like, does it bother you? But like, does it kind of like almost get under your skin a little bit when like they don't fully grasp the meaning or like completely miss the point?
I mean, it would only bother me if people co-opted it in a harmful way, like using its message for some harmful purpose. Yeah. I think people will always interpret it the way that they do, and there's every song that you write, they'll interpret differently. Sometimes they'll interpret completely incorrectly, and that's kind of just part of making work. So it doesn't bother me so much, but it's I'm at peace with it, and I think the listener always finishes the song anyway. It's kind of like there is the song, but everybody's individual relationship with the song is as valid as the next person. I have my relationship with the song when it's written, and I have my intention, but I don't have control over a million people's interpretation of it. And so that's part of making work. That's part of making it.
That's true. Well, I mean, I'm loving the new album. I mean, like, just everything that I've heard. I mean, like, just like, I will say you have just a fantastic voice, and like the power that you have with some of your songs, it comes through on all of your songs. I absolutely love it. So I'm looking forward to seeing the set later on. And just speaking about festivals in general, I say it to everybody. I mean, every band has the same mentality, whether you're playing for 10 people or 10,000 people. You always come out with the same, like I'm gonna just rock this crowd and I'm gonna do it. But there has to be some sort of different like vibe or like energy when it comes to a festival outside of that. Like, do you feel like that comes through when you're playing a festival versus like just a theater or a club date or anything like that?
Festivals are different. They're kind of, you're sharing an audience, with so many different great bands and artists. So you kind of just approach it like it's a party where you're sort of sharing it. You're sharing the crowd. So it's not your own ticket and show. So you just kind of take that into your awareness, but it's always different. I think there's a different energy you get from a festival crowd, which is unique to itself, than a club crowd, than like an amphitheater crowd or whatever. So it's. I just try to enjoy it for what it is in each moment.
I love it. And so I'm going to end with one of my favorite questions to ask any artist, and it's a little bit of a thinker, and sometimes people have an answer, sometimes they don't. So, festivals are a different beast, like we were just talking about. Like, you want to come out and it's a party. It might be an audience that might not know who you are, but when you think about one of your headlining shows, you're putting together your set list. You have kind of staple songs that always make the cut. Maybe you throw in some new songs. What's the one song that you wish you could put on the set list, but it just can't make the cut? Maybe it's too long. Maybe it's something that people aren't totally familiar with. Like, what's one song that you wish that you could always put into the set list?
That's a tough one. This album probably has a few songs that I'd love to have on the set list, but there's one called NFWMB that I really like, which was on an EP before the last album, NFWMB, and there's a song called As It Was from the second album, far lesser known than the amazing than Harry Styles hit, but I really like that song. It has a special place in my heart.
I love it. And, I mean, I thought that for sure for the new album you were going to be like, oh yeah, we're going to do the one that finally put in some of that Irish language into, and finally got to some of that, But I mean, those are the songs that people should go and check out, because I always like asking that question, because it is like these songs mean a little bit more to you. I mean, they're all meaningful, but it's like I wish more people would be in tune with this. So maybe at some point you can throw them into the set list.
Absolutely, will do.
I love it. Well, again, I hope that there's bourbon in your dressing room, so you can have a little bit of that. Maybe not as much before the set, but maybe afterwards. So, but I appreciate you taking the time, and it's great to have you here in Louisville at Bourbon and Beyond. Thank you so much for taking the time. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much. Thank you.